TeenPact. I'm your host, Seth Wyatt, and I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to bring you the second episode of this series. So, with that being said, let's dive right into a recap of recent TeenPact events. Following the release of our first episode, McBride Campbell, former TeenPact president and professional Instagram hipster, released a video using Instagram's new story feature.
The McBride Campbell campaign, most believe that that's not what won them the election. Most believe that McBride Campbell won the TeenPact presidency because he and Christian were skilled in media, they were skilled as candidates, and that's what's commonly believed to have won them the election. It was their message, but was it a combination of both? Or is it a bad thing for a candidate to ride on their message? The point and the skill of the candidate on the media and the budget really a bad thing?
Wait, hold on. Charming peasant. He calls me a charming peasant. That's not an insult. That's literally on my business card. And I've got to say, if you really want to insult me, you've got plenty of work to work with right here. I mean, why not say that I look like the reflection of Donald Trump in a doorknob? I mean, come on. I'm doing your job for you. But I do feel compelled to give a shout out to President Campbell, who, while criticizing those who take showers, wear sunglasses on every single cloudy day, no matter what.
No one has more resilience or matches my practical tactical brilliance.
Now, having said this, I should say that we here at TeenPact Comedy know that we have to be very careful with our humor. But we also know that McBride could take a little shade, both literally and figuratively. But moving on, in recent TeenPact news, Southwest Survival in Glorieta, New Mexico concluded recently, and Survival Northwest ended just recently as well. This past week also saw the completion of Back to DC, wherein hordes of homeschoolers marched around our nation's capital 7 times while playing guitars, hoping that the Washington Monument wouldn't fall down. As we turn our attention to upcoming events, TeenPact Endeavor concluded recently, an event which I cannot recommend from personal experience, but I'm sure will be fantastic for those who can meet the very strict registration pre-requirements. It seems I'm the only anchor TeenPact Comedy can afford, so welcome to a special segment where I endeavor to explain TeenPact's most mysterious alumni event. It probably all starts at home, where each participant endeavors to see how many pairs of shoes they can successfully bring. Rewards are given to the student who can walk the farthest in heels. Like any good TeenPact event, it probably begins with ice-breaking questions and get-to-know-you games. These took place at Starbucks, of course, because why else would teenage girls attend a camp if overpriced coffee was not involved? Next, they are probably going to all go shopping and probably, sleep somewhere during the week. Breakfast is probably served at 12 p.m. to allow for enough time to get ready. And all in all, no one is quite sure what exactly goes down. But we all know that these predictions sound pretty realistic. The big news this month: registration for TeenPact 4-day classes opened on September 1st. And registration has already surpassed 1,000 registered students in less than a month. It's an exciting time of the year for TeenPact. And TeenPact is hoping to make 2017 their biggest season ever. So word of mouth student promotion is super important in that. So if you haven't already done so, go to teenpact.com and immediately and get yourself, your friends, your 23 little siblings registered for this day class. Now, that previous statement was a slight exaggeration because who am I kidding? Homeschoolers don't have friends. What a ridiculous thing. Moving on, our main story tonight centers around Florida, or, as you may know it, the hot and humid state, where all you need to do to make cookies is put them in one big bowl and beat them for 2 halves. For the past few years, Florida has been increasingly dominant at the national level. It really began with the election of Fitzpatrick I as TeenPact president back in 2014. In that year, he and his younger brother Jeremiah were the sole elected officials at national convention from the hot and humid state of Florida. Riding on this wave of state recognition, Floridians returned in force in NC 2015, even though their presidential candidate, Benjamin Sullivan, lost the presidential race to Luke Martin by a narrow margin. They still managed to capture a stunning 4 out of 9 representative seats, and Fitzpatrick II also managed to secure a Senate seat to boot. And then, finally, as if that wasn't crazy enough, at NC 2016 this past spring, Floridians managed to get a whopping 5 of their own representative candidates elected. 1 senatorial candidate. In addition, they also claimed as their own all 3 general election presidential candidates. Yes, all 3. Which makes me remember, there are 3 legitimate candidates running for U.S. president. You should check out the 3rd option. Yes, Florida locked up all 3 presidential candidates. That is unbelievable. And it's unbelievable how fast the FloridaPact phenomenon rose to the top. FloridaPact is very real, and it's a huge deal at NC.
It looks like it has been a huge night for TeenPact Florida. That hot Florida sun is putting those Floridians on fire.
648 votes, Anna. That is an incredible tally. And so far, all of the elected officials we've heard about have been from Florida. What is it about that state? I'm proud to live there. I don't know about you.
A little bit biased.
Yeah, the Fitzpatrick brothers picking up 2 wins already today. Those twins got it going on. Another win for the state of Florida. That's pretty incredible.
True.
Very exciting for Annabelle Riley. Another representative is from the state of Florida.
Another Floridian.
I can't say enough good things about the state of Florida. It must be the people living there.
Must be. But with the state of Florida, they could be catching up mighty fast.
Absolutely. Also, 218 votes from the state of Florida. Wow. That is a large amount. Delaware has a lot of ground to make up if they want to ever get to anything like that.
Congratulations to Representative-elect Danny Pearson, another Floridian being elected to the office of representative. Now, Ben, on a scale of 1 to Subway, how fresh are these Floridians tonight?
About as fresh as Elijah Knapp's comb over.
And who would have guessed they would all be from Florida? TeenPact, that is called a swag trifecta, and you can't touch it.
Okay, that makes sense. When you're the stature of Anna Joel, there must be a lot of things that are difficult to touch. But let's take a moment here to analyze exactly what is going on. Florida is not even the largest state in TeenPact. Texas has them by a mile. And yet, they are running away with the elections on the national level. They had 200 students vote during NC, significantly more than the next closest states, and a majority of those were absentee votes. Florida is completely dominating the elections process. So, what is the solution to this dilemma? They have undoubtedly set an example for other states to follow in terms of TeenPact alumni involvement. But even with their enormous population and alumni engagement, they're still winning far more than they statistically should. Partially because of the way representative and Senate elections at national convention work. But let me explain. Both on-site at NC and in the TeenPact nation as a whole, Florida makes up just over 11% of all TeenPacters nationally. A sizable group to be sure, but it is certainly not the overwhelming majority reflected by the national TeenPact election results. So again, I ask, what can we do to create a better political landscape for those of us who do not live in the hot and humid state of Florida? There is no magic answer, but perhaps we could make the representative elections more realistic. We could divide TeenPact into 9 House districts of proportional population. Then students would be able to vote only for their favorite candidate in their home district. By dividing the districts proportional to the amount of students, you ensure that every student is actually represented by local elected officials. This adds the benefit of realism, really, and it serves to further diversify the different offices. Currently, there is no practical difference between representative and Senate. But that could change, and this could help to amend that issue. Presidential elections are determined by the Electoral College. Senatorial elections remain strict popularity contests, and representative elections are by local district. If that were to change, it would certainly do a lot to help TeenPact and to help ease FloridaPact's domination of national elections. Now, there's plenty more that we could say about Florida, about how hot and humid they are, about how much it irks other states that they dominate the national elections. But here's the truth. Everyone has an equal chance to win each election. And all we need to do is get out the vote and, well, campaign as hard as we can when we run. Though I do think that these changes would do a lot to make TeenPact elections more realistic. That being said, that's all the time we have. So I'm Seth Wyatt, and this has been Last Week TeenPact.